Hello, this is Brandon K. Hedgepeth, and I want to welcome you here to the Tansson Talk Show, where our mission here every week is to bring people together. I'm so excited to do this show, and most importantly, I'm excited to welcome you to the conversation I am having with Sankalp Sharma. Welcome back.
Hello, thank you so much for having me, and I am honored to make a second appearance on the show.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you, and as a fun fact, even though, of course, I love having you guys return back, but this is the first time that someone, since my rebranding in February 2023, has actually come back onto the show.
Wow, well, I am honored to be the first to do that, and I'm excited for everyone else who will be. I know a lot of my friends have been on the show, and I can't wait to hear more of their episodes because I absolutely loved hearing what they had to talk about.
Thank you so much, like I said, for all the support and everything that you give to the show.
Of course, I mean, I've always been a big supporter. Of people using their platforms to have conversations, learn about one another. In our talk last year, I learned a lot, and I think it's an important just use of technology and of the fact that it's something. If Zoom and our times over COVID and being virtual taught us anything, it's that you're really not away from people, and you can always find ways to talk and maintain relationships, maintain friendships, and just keep the conversation going. And I absolutely love the fact that you do that. So I will always be a number one supporter as much as I can.
I absolutely love that, and Les, I always appreciate your support. And so, last time that we spoke, on the show, it was 1 year and 2 days ago. And
Yes.
and first of all, can you believe that it's been been that long, a whole 368 days since it's a leap year?
Not at all. No, in that year that you and I have talked, the both of us have grown so much, and I absolutely am excited. It's to me it's just exciting to see if all that happened yesterday, what's going to happen tomorrow. So I'm excited.
I love that. And without further ado, Son, if you can do us the honor of reintroducing yourself for the watching or listening audience here today.
Yes, of course. Hi, everyone. My name is San Sharma. I am currently the PRSSA National President, and I'm very excited to be here.
I absolutely love that.
Oh, other stuff about me, I guess I can say is I'm a graduating senior at Sacramento State University. Um, I was on the show a year ago, and actually, the day we're recording this is April 21st, which was the day that I was elected, April 21st, 2023, for my current position. And it's been an incredible year. So yeah, I think hope that's I mean I could talk for hours and hours about this. So we'll go ahead and get started with the conversation.
Yeah, definitely. And I do want to, put this a little bit into perspective too. And so not only, Liza, is this the 1 year since you have been named national president for the PRSSA National Committee, is that was a little less than 2 days after we had actually spoken on the show.
Yeah. I remember when we did talk about it on the show, and you asked me what's next in terms of PRSSA. At that point, I knew that I was running for president. I didn't know what the result was going to be. Excuse me, I'm allergy season over here, but didn't know what the result was going to be. I was very comfortable with whatever the result was. I really wanted just the betterment of PRSSA, and whether it was myself or anyone else, I knew that everyone who was running would have made an incredible president. And I mean, go and behold, Milagros is elected as next year's president, and she is, I think, just so ready and so talented. I'll be serving on the committee as immediate past president, and I think it's going to be just such an incredible learning experience for me from her, just to learn her leadership and her dedication to PRSSA is something else. And that I'm just so excited for PRSSA to see. I mean, everyone's seen it. She's been on the committee for 2 years, and everyone is such a huge Milagros fan, myself included. So to see her in this new role and to see how she grows and how she, it's more than just professional growth, but it's also personal growth. And just to see her growth, I'm so excited to be a witness of that. But yeah, for me last year it was. I remember talking to you and I was just like, oh well, 2 days and I'll be there. We'll see what happens then. And fortunately, I was very blessed to have gotten to this position, and just over the year, it's been a magical year is the best way I can put it.
I love that, and yeah, and first of all, yeah, definitely to speak to Malagos. I'm very excited to see what she does as the next national president, and I know she's a major fan of every PRSSA chapter and of my podcast as well. So
Yes.
I'm just so excited to see what she's going to do in just a few weeks, I believe.
Yes, so her term starts June 1st. So very, very close to go time for her.
And so I guess, for you, before I actually ask, what you're going to do in your final, month, a little over a month, left of your term, is that I did actually want to take a step back. So when you went to run for national president, how was that? And I'm sure that it was, an interesting process, going through it and preparing for it.
Yeah, elections were see it's funny. I as much as people would say, "Oh, you must have been nervous. You must have been up the night before and just anxiety's keeping you up." I I think that might have been the calmest I've ever been, just because I was very comfortable with uh, either result. If I got it, comfortable. If I didn't get it, also very comfortable. Like I said, I was really just to me, Pure SSA has been the biggest change and the biggest help in my life, and for me, just the improvement of PRSSA was what mattered. Like I often say, I want to make PRSSA. When I first joined PRSSA in my first meeting, I felt so welcomed and so invited and so just overall appreciated, and I wanted to make sure PRSSA everywhere felt that way. And that's something that I knew I was going to do. I knew the Milagros was going to do, and it will do now. So it was just very comforting for me. I actually like being up on the stage and answering the questions. It was just honestly, I couldn't tell you if I've whether I was nervous. I really just wasn't. And I don't mean that to sound cocky in any way. I just was very to me it was something I was just talking about something that I had passion for. And I feel like when you're passionate about something, it just the conversation flows naturally. And I mean elections. I was okay. I was nervous this year about elections because we had four people and four incredible candidates running for national president. And just to, I mean, they're all on my committee. I love all of them very dearly, and I'm so proud of each and every single one of them. Um, it was a weird feeling. I was talking to someone about it. It's like when you lead a committee, it feels like everyone in that committee is like your kid. So you're so proud of them. You've seen them grow. You've seen them accomplish things that no one would even imagine because that's how wide and just how out of the box they think. So someone's gonna win, which is so exciting. But you also know someone's gonna lose. And that's what was nerve wracking for me. Was I just I didn't want to see any of my people take that, um, which was, I mean, unfortunately, the honest truth is that's how life works, and it's how elections work. But they're, I mean, they're on to even bigger and better things. So I think, everything happens for a reason. And similar to everything that happens for a reason, everything, like certain things also don't happen for a reason. So that that's kind of the talk that I had with everyone, and I was so, Brandon, I'm not gonna lie, I was so nervous about this year, just because I did it was just it was hurting me to see, like, I don't want anyone to lose. I really didn't want anyone to lose. I wish, if it was possible, every single one of them would have won, but that's obviously not how it works.
I can only imagine. I mean, just a feeling of that. And so I know for you as a part of the national committee that for anyone that's interested in running, that they will, speak to you all about the positions, and try to, find out more about your positions. And so how is it for you, I guess, in knowing it's just like, okay, well, it's like, because I suppose you were really the only one that really knew everyone. I mean, who was even going to run.
Yeah, it was. It's weird. It's like, obviously this goes for any position of leadership. Just, you see everything from like a bird's eye view, right? So it's there's just so much that goes on behind the scenes that I never knew when I was a vice president, or even just like on a committee or a district master, or just like at my home chapter. It's just a lot of information that I didn't know was going on. And that makes you aware of how to deal with certain situations and what to advise people. So I think that's really helped me grow as more than just like time management, but just like an advisor position. It's really helped me grow, and it's helped me learn more about people, and how to understand what I can do to help certain people. And just overall see things from a much larger viewpoint than what's right in front of me. It's really helped me, and it's shown me that, there's something right in front of me, but there's also something diagonal to that. There's something behind that. There's something on the right side, on the left side, something in front of it, even possibly, that I'm missing. So um, that's helped me become a much better advisor, and I truly think it's a skill that everyone should, if they can, if they do have the opportunity and resources, if they can do that, that would be. I mean, it's helped me grow, so I can only assume it would help others grow.
Yeah, I mean, I just really love your sentiment with everything, and I guess for you, going from a different perspective, to asking about your experience, but how would you say that you have grown over this past year and with the position? Because of course I know you were already on the national committee as a vice president, I believe, of chapter development. But how was that for you?
Yes.
Transitioning from there to national president.
I think the transition was a bit easier because I was honestly just blessed with my committee. Everyone, we were all on the same page when it came to our goals, and our goal, excuse me, was growth and community strengthening. That's just something that I'm very personally passionate about, and especially in PRSSA, I think that's something that I valued, and I wanted to make sure everyone else got to experience. And that was community building. And whether it was virtually, whether it was icon, whether it was assembly, just simple conversations with one another, it's I think I would say it's really, really helped the society in terms of kind of bringing everyone together, and helping one another get educated about the different lifestyles that we live and the different experiences that we have. I mean, you've seen a different world than I've seen, and it's to me education. That's something that I can learn from. That's something your experiences are something that are they can only help me grow, right? Is to see how you've navigated your life thus far, or how someone else from another chapter has navigated theirs. And I think that's that's something you can see towards lifestyle. That's something you can see towards growth. That's also something you can see towards PRSSA. Is what have they done at this chapter that's worked that we can possibly implement at another chapter. And that was really my take going into chapter development. Um, and then as president, I really thought about what I was passionate about, and what what the society, like my why for the society. My why was community, and I really focused on that. And in terms of growth, wow, um, so much. I think it's helped me become a better professional. It's helped me become a better just overall individual. I've truly learned so much. I've been fortunate enough to travel a very, very good amount, and the travel has really taught me a lot as well. There was a, I was joking with someone the other day. They said Son basically just lives out of a suitcase at this point, which is partially very true. I do have a go bag ready in case I just need to make a quick trip somewhere. But it's funny. Like I'll be going to Chicago for a night, quite literally just one night, and from all the way from Sacramento to Chicago and then right back. And it's kind of just what the job requires, what the position requires, and it's I personally, as I've said on the last episode, I love to travel, and this was, it was to be honest, it was a little healing for. I know if any of the listeners know about the heal your inner child uh, concept. When I was asked as a kid, often like, what do I want to do in life? I wanted to travel, and I didn't know how. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I just knew I wanted to explore the world, learn new cultures, make new friends, just like get to know how different people live their lifestyles. And here I am at 21 years old, uh, really making that a reality, and that's been just very, very comforting, and it's very motivating as well, because I want to see the rest of the world now. I've seen a lot of. I was doing the math. I think I've seen over half the United States in the last 2 years. And now I want to see the rest of the world. So we'll now that I don't have we're in a few months now, then when I won't have college, and it'll just be my job. Um, I get to explore, 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 explore.
I think one of the places that you need to explore is you need to come over here to Hampton Roads, Virginia, and say hello.
Yes, I do. I do. I definitely need to make a stop there. And I mean that's just for every reason. I do still owe you a signed copy, so I do have to make a way.
Definitely. And I did want to speak a little bit about that too. So I know last time when we spoke, you'd mentioned then that you actually had two published works. Both of those were your poetry books. And so
Yes.
and so since that time I've actually had a chance to read both of them all the way through. Um
Thank
eh,
you. Wow, that's
yeah, and
awesome.
I actually own the physical copy of one of them as well. Straight from the heart, a collection of poems. And so very much cherish my copy, and was I am so excited for whenever I have the chance to see you in person, so that way you can sign it.
Yes, thank you so much. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. Well, I really do hope you've enjoyed reading them. That was written by 18-year-old Son. So would I write like that again? Who knows? I don't think I have what it takes to write like that anymore. I think I've delved into a different type of artistic work. But wow, that means a lot to me. Thank you.
Of course, and I know that yeah, since then that you've actually been doing a little bit of writing, but in a different form.
Yes, yeah. I recently had the pleasure to write a foreword for David Grossman in Heart First for Emerging Leaders. It's a new, incredible book for growth and development, and especially focus on young leaders and just people who want to take advantage of their work and really put themselves forward. And David is a genius, and I've been following him since Icon 2022. Actually, Brandon, when you and I met, and just to be able to write the forward for this new incredible book was so wonderful, and I I'm so grateful for all the opportunities that have been given to me, and it's fun to see just a work. And actually at Assembly, David and I did a book signing where um, I remember right before David told me that, yeah, we're gonna sign a couple books, and I was just like, oh. In my mind, I thought David is gonna sign the books, and I'm just gonna have to direct traffic or make sure everyone knows to go where to find David. And then come to find out, David has a seat ready for me, and they're just like, yeah. So they would pass David the book, he would sign, and he would slide it over to me. And I'm this was the first time I've ever signed anything in my life, other than like tax documents or whatever, your government stuff, right? So I'm sitting there and I'm like panicking signing because there's one book, then there's another one. So I was just like, oh, I have to do it so quickly. But I also want to make sure I put a message for the people, to thank them for their leadership in PRSSA, or thank them for willing to just be here, or you know. And I just remember sitting there like, there. It's such a surreal moment. Um, it yeah, I that's it's one of those few like PRSSA moments where I remember just like, wow, I can't believe I'm here doing this. And PRSSA has honestly given me so many of those moments that's another reason why I tell people to join PRSSA. And when you're in PRSSA, really take advantage of PRSSA, because you're gonna have moments like that where you're just like, wow, I cannot believe I'm here and doing this. And I mean, Brandon, you were just on a I believe a panel discussion.
Oh, so I've done a few things. So yeah, but one of the things I did recently was that so I'd been featured in. Uh, okay, so there's been a few things I've been a part of. So over the
Yeah.
past from recording this week and a half, so I first on Saturday I had a what was it, a panel discussion that I was a part of, and so I had been recently featured in the Amazon Prime series, The College Tour, um, and so they had an episode highlighting my
Wow.
university, and so I was one of, I believe, 10 amazing, students highlighted, and so yeah, and so I got a chance to be a panelist on that during Admitted Students Day, and then a few days afterwards, our PRSSA chapter celebrated 10 years, and so I got to help facilitate some of the activities of that amazing, I believe, 3.5 day event.
Wow. Well, congratulations. I mean, that's so incredible, and that's wow. Everyone should go see that new docu series. I'm gonna add it to my list actually, after this call, because I want to see that. That's so awesome to see someone I know on the big screen. I mean, that's so exciting.
Thank you so much. And yeah, I mean, it truly was such a fun experience doing that. And I made sure to wear my OD PRSSA shirt, yeah, during the recording of that. So yeah, I'm excited for you to check it out.
I love it. Yeah, I'm excited to see that. Wow, that's so awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. And yeah, I mean, it's so hard to believe, yeah, sometimes like the amazing things that can happen over the course of just a single year.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, just a little quick story was at Icon this or last year now, but in Nashville we were there, and I was talking to a PRSSA, incredible PRSSA leader. Her and I met also Icon the previous year. Um, but we were just catching up, and for confidentiality purposes, I won't say who she saw, but she saw me talking to a certain professional, and this person had written a couple books, and she bought one of the books, and she was just a big fan. And she told me, she's just like, oh my god, son, you know this person, like, wow, how do you know them? And I said, oh, I met them last year, we talked a couple times. And then they said, they're just like, wow, like, I am such a fan of this person, like, I cannot believe that you know them. I'm so shy to go and talk to them. And I was like, okay, well, I know them. So the person had to go. She had to go to a session, and wasn't able to stay for long. But when I saw the individual that they were talking about, I was just like, "Hey, my friend is a big fan. Do you mind just sending her a quick? Since we use the Hoova app, I was like, do you mind just sending her a quick little message on Hoova? She's a huge fan of yours." And they're just like, yeah, of course. And he like, and right there, then and there, sent them a quick message. And I have the text here. I'll read it to you, uh, if I can find it. Okay, it's not popping up, but it was basically just like, oh my god, I cannot believe that they sent me a message on Hova, and I'm so excited. And that just, I mean, that's what PRSSA is all about for me. Is this, it's the little things, making the little things happen, because that kind of motivates you to go on to bigger things. That's at least my personal belief, is to have something, like a big win, you need to have a couple little wins. So celebrate the little wins. It's really all about the little things in life. That's just the little philosophy that I go with.
I love that though, and I'm so glad that you're able to make that connection and truly work to bring people together.
It was incredible. Yeah, it was. Oh, sorry, I gotta sneeze. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. Peak allergy season here. But that's I mean, that's another really funny thing, is last show, and you mentioned this earlier, last show I also was hit with the allergies. So I guess it's a a Tansson talks recurring thing for me. If I do a third, if for I get to do a third episode next year or whenever, let's pray that I don't have allergies that time. We'll see. Who knows where I'll be then. Who knows what'll be going on, but that's my goal, is try to do a Tansen talk without suffering from allergies. um, but yes, yeah. But I'm so excited to be able to have this conversation. And it really is it's a huge reflecting point in terms of, I mean, what's happened in a year. I mean, you've grown so much, Brandon, and I absolutely love it. I mean, you're in a Amazon Prime docuseries. That's so incredible, and that's, to me, that's kind of what's exciting, is like everyone around me is growing and they're doing incredible things, and to be able to see it on social media, it's really just like, wow, like I'm so happy. It's like, it's very comforting to know, like, we are the next generation, right? So it's great to know that the next generation is taking the steps in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't really agree more with that. And yeah, I mean, it's so exciting, like I said, to even be able to have this conversation. And even though, we're on complete opposite sides of the United States, that we're even able to have these conversations thanks to even modern technology.
Exactly. Yeah. Um, it's wonderful, truly wonderful.
But yeah, and so I did actually want to ask you too. So, what would you say, yeah, outside of your role as national president, what else would you say has changed for you over this past year or so? And I suppose, was there anything that was unexpected that happened this year at all?
That's a great question. Unexpected was a lot of traveling, and to places that I never thought that I would travel to, uh, which was just a great learning experience. I mean, it made for I have some great travel stories. That's for sure. I actually very recently spent a whole night in the Atlanta airport because my flight got canceled. And I mean, I could have gone to a hotel and spent the night, but I just decided I mean, the airport was beautiful. So I'm also, this is I guess a very not normal thing about me is I love airports. The people watching is great. I love to see everyone living their lives at airports, and someone's either rushed or someone's just relaxed or someone's has their guitar out or whatever. So it's a great experience, but I also just love, like, I've always been someone that flying for me is it, like I'm fortunate to say I've flown in a lot with my travels, but being on the plane, I don't like that much, just because I feel like I kind of want to do something. My mind rushes a million places, like a million different areas in a minute. Um, so the just having to sit down really gets me. And I can't always sleep on planes, so that also throws me off. But airports just really, I love it. So I spent the night at the Atlanta airport, honestly, just walking around. I mean, I had a 6 a.m. flight, so that was pretty comforting. So I think yeah, I just walked around the whole. This is a huge airport too, so I just walked around. It was, yeah. But it's also funny actually coming back from Icon. Uh, in Nashville, a lot of people had the same flights leaving, um, and that was really funny because we're seeing everyone at the airport. Every direction I walk in, I'm seeing people, and they're just like, "Oh, hey, like, hi, Son, long time no see," and I'm just like, "Yeah," like it's it was great. What else? Other things were, I mean, I met incredible people. That's definitely been a huge, huge just blessing for me, was meeting all the people. Some very surreal moments. Uh, People knowing who I was, and I hadn't had the pleasure of meeting them yet. Or I got asked by someone about a project that I worked on years ago, and this is my first time ever meeting someone. So I'm just like, oh my god, how do you know I did that? And then I remember LinkedIn. But yeah, I think another story is myself and Basha, who is on my committee. Great person, wonderful friend, super super talented. She lives an incredible life too. She has some great stories. And I just remember we were in Seattle for assembly, and her and I went to, it's my favorite coffee shop in Seattle. It's called Ghost Alley Espresso. If for some reason they ever hear this and want to sponsor me somehow, that's a joke. But if you want to, please, I'd love their coffee. They have the best coffee in Seattle. It's like a hidden little alleyway, and they have this just incredible culture there. Love their drinks. So Basha and I went and got coffee there. Um, and as we're waiting in line for our coffee and for our orders, we someone just approaches us and they're just like, "Hey, you guys are PRSSA National Committee, right?" And we're just like, "Yeah, this is in the middle of Seattle." And it was another PRSSA student who had recognized us. But it was just something that we never would have expected. Like, people know who we are walking through the streets of Seattle, and that was pretty surreal. I in Chicago, it was similar to that, just people knowing who I was, and I hadn't had the pleasure of meeting them yet, or they're from a chapter that I'm still learning about, or there were some people that weren't even in PRSSA, they were just interested. Um, so those were all just incredible experiences, and yeah, honestly, this year has given me so much growth, some incredible friends, some incredible stories. So I think I'm just so grateful for this year.
That is so great. And I'm actually going to flip what you just said too. And so, had you had any opportunities where you got to meet people that you've like perhaps like are connected with like on LinkedIn or have maybe seen
Oh
in a
yeah,
Zoom meeting and you're meeting them for the first time?
so much. I mean, that was like every single place I went. To me, like, I was just starstruck. And there's the people that I'm meeting. I'm just like, wow, oh my god, they're right in front of me. Like, can I ask for an autograph? But I mean, just I got to go to dinner with some incredible people. I got to hear stories about PRSA and PRSSA from years ago. I spent Gina Laughlin, who is at Delta, an incredible leader. She's one of the sweetest people I've ever met and just so helpful. She was PRSSA president in, I believe, 1999. And I saw her at Icon. She was one of the keynote speakers, and a huge Delta fan. I had met her also last year at Icon, but really got to talk to her more this year. And I told her that I'm interested in travel, and I'm a huge Delta fan. And just right there and there, like then and there, she said, "Hey, yeah, come spend a week with us at Delta." And I was fortunate enough to do that and just shadow different teams and learn more about airline PR and airline communications. And I mean, the whole time I was there, I felt like I was starstruck, and I'm meeting such incredible people. Like, it was these they're I mean they're the sweetest people that I've ever met, and very helpful. And I think that goes to show just how much people, with PRSSA, care about one another. We really do take care of our own, and more than anything, we're willing to help others grow. And if that's learn more about a company or learn more about an organization, it's comforting to know that there's leaders out there that were in our shoes, years, and they're now willing to help us. So that's something that I've always advised people. I actually just had coffee with Scott Pansky, who is the co-founder of Allison, which is an agency, 2 days ago now, and we talked for maybe 5 or 6 hours, just talking, and he's telling me like some fun stories. And I think I've just been really soaking in all the information, and it's to me, I feel like I'm a kid watching the big screen movies. Like, there's some incredible people out there that I've been able to meet and converse with, that it's just been a huge learning experience.
That's amazing that you're able to to first of all like have this this honor of being able to meet yeah, amazing people who are both a part of this organization, potentially want to be a part of it, or the biggest fans, of the organization. And I mean, and it's just so remarkable that you're able to do this, and from having known you over this past year, that you work to make sure that you can, you know, continue these connections with them and have it where it truly is a relationship between you and the other person, and not just oh, can I just have a favor? Like, you truly go above and beyond to make sure that you have a meaningful connection with each person you meet.
Thank you. I really do appreciate that. It gets really tough, especially with most of it feels like most of my PR friends are across the world. So I mean yourself included. So sometimes communication gets really tough. I'll be so honest. And that's something that I've just been trying to figure out over this year is how do I stay up to date? And honestly, my committee is this is another reason why I love my committee so much. They are on top of their communication game. I mean, Milagros, Oakley, Teo, Bella, Ava, Basha, Melina, every single one of them are just so willing to take that first step and talk to someone. I mean, even Allison, who is Allison Hoffman was president last year as immediate past president this year. She's been just a great mentor to me, and she's really set the standard. And all of them have taught me like how to manage time and manage communication because they're great at it. They're really really good at it, and they aren't afraid to take that first step. They aren't afraid to connect with people, reach out. We did incredible outreach this year, and it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for this team. So I've really learned a lot about the how to maintain those relationships, and it's something that my team has really really helped me learn. It's definitely very difficult, just given my schedule to be able to I personally, okay, I'm guilty of being a bad on text. I think I'm not too bad, but when it comes to social media, that's where I get really bad with responding to stuff, and that's something that I'm trying to work on really really. But it's been a great, like, a really fun learning experience. This one has, and yeah, no, my if you were to look at my team's communication skills, I think they are setting like a new standard of they're I would say they're the best at it. They have taught me so much. So that's a great time thing too, is I just get to sit back and learn from them. So yeah.
That's amazing. And something, I mean, that I've loved thus far for this conversation is just your admiration for your team, and the true family feeling of for this team. And how does it feel for you, knowing that you're winding down to the last like month and a half of of this current iteration of the team as you transition into immediate past president?
See, so it's a little sad. I'll be honest. I Our last meeting at assembly, just like, it was a round table like group meeting with myself and the national committee. I just remember like everyone's just sad. Just we don't see each other as often, given the fact that we're quite literally on all different ends of the world, or in the Americas. So it is difficult, but I think I'm very excited. Now we're gonna transition into just being like great friends, and we're all gonna remember each other. I mean, made a great friendship over this year. So I think it's similar to last year's committee. We're very much just seeing each other grow and excited for one another. We'll like send each other like a message here and there. I remember I went the first time I went to Chicago. McKenna Fleming, who was on the committee last year with me, um, she's based in Chicago, and I remember the first time I went, I just said, "Hey, I'm in Chicago," and she was just like, "Perfect, let's go get coffee." And that's something this year. Ava and Bella, who are based in Southern California, I remember one day when actually right after assembly, I was in Anaheim for the Icon 2024 site visit. Um, and I told them, I was just like, "Hey, I'm in in Anaheim," and there's like perfect. So we all went out, got dinner. So that I think it's gonna be more of a friendship, like a hey, hey, I'm in your area. Let's go grab coffee. And I think that's just a very beautiful thing. So it's gonna transition from like coworkers and family into just friends and family now.
I absolutely, love that, and I love that you're even staying connected, like you're saying, with some members of the previous board, and I'm excited to see like what you're going to do with the new board. And so, as even go to immediate past president. So, what is the role of immediate past president for PRSSA?
Yeah, so it's a lot more now. My focus is going to be bridging that gap between PRSSA and PRSA, and sort of providing a sense of this is what you do once you're done with college, and how you jump into PRSA, what you should be doing, who you should be talking to, like the connections that you make with your PRSA chapter. So my focus is going to be a lot more on that, and also a lot more on just providing guidance and counsel to the next committee in terms of what can, in my experience, what have I seen that can help them, and help Milagros or get her connected with people. Um, so it's a lot more of like a providing guidance, providing counsel. That's something that I was joking with Allison about. Was she's just like, now you get to be just relaxed, and you're gonna be still involved in everything. You're gonna know about everything going on, but you're just a lot more relaxed. You're um, getting to sit in the passenger seat now. You don't have to worry about driving. Um, and and that's exciting because I mean, Milagros and and this incoming committee are just super super talented people. So I think I'm gonna be. I don't think I'm gonna have to pick up and help to like. It's gonna be a fun year. Is what I can say. This team is incredible. They're gonna be doing wonderful things. So I mean, they already are. I've been seeing just them take initiatives, and even before they were elected, just the initiative that they took within their chapters or within connecting with us on the national committee. So it's exciting to see. So I know it'll be a great year.
I absolutely love that. And speaking of transitions, though, you're about to make a pretty big one for academic wise for yourself.
Yes, yeah. So I'm graduating in less than a month now, um, and I'm excited. I have all the feels. Well, not too sure about the next steps. Still figuring that out. That's something that I just like to say about life is you're just figuring out your next steps. It's fun. But yeah, it's a fun time. Not it's definitely nerve wracking. I'm gonna miss college a lot. But I think it's the right time for this next step.
Yeah, I entirely understand that. I know even for myself, finishing up, grad school and, in just a few days. I mean, I don't know. It's one of the things where it's just like, it's very bittersweet, especially like with all of the, the goodbyes and the events
Yeah,
and everything. And it's sort of like, it's like, can't it just be like a few more minutes longer? But in the same regard, it's also the feeling of sort of like, it's time. So
yeah,
yeah, it's one of the things where it's just like, well, cherish the time that you have and look forward to the next, mission.
exactly. Yes, and congratulations. That's such a huge, huge deal.
Thank you so much. And yeah, and likewise for you for finishing out, undergrad, and not that long from now. And so hopefully you have some big plans for you to celebrate the occasion.
Hopefully, yes. We actually most of my friends are also graduating, so hopefully it'll be like that. Just fun with the college group of friends. Yeah, I it's exciting. It's very exciting. It's a next step, in life, but we'll see. I'm excited for this next step, whatever it may be.
Well, I would definitely, let's say, I'm excited to see what your next, steps are overall. And I guess to, sort of pull this full circle with even the beginning of our previous conversation. So, in looking back, how does it feel for you, being someone that originally had, little regard for, academics and progression to now be finishing up your time as national president of a public relations organization across the Americas?
It's very, very I'm very fortunate and I'm very blessed for that. I mean, if you told me what I'd be doing or the people that I'd meet, the friendships that I'd make, the places that I'd see, if you told me that when I was 17 or 16, 18 even, I wouldn't believe you. I'd really just be surprised as to you know what what life has been. Wow, sorry, that really made me think. It's really it's cool to finally have be in a position where I have a step to take. I've at least in high school or in my early years, that wasn't something that I did. And that wasn't something that I had. So to be able to have that now, and have a wonderful group of people that support me, and a wonderful group of friends that I can help support. It's just really been an incredible experience, and um, I don't know. It's really made me think a lot more about. Uh, it's like it's never too late to start. Um, it's always. I think that's kind of one of the beauties of life is you can flip the script just like that.
Yeah, that really is so true. And I mean, even fits with the title of last our episode last time, which was always keep growing.
Yeah. That's actually funny. I one of my tattoos I got actually so I got this it's not showing. But it's a little addition sign on my forearm, and I got it the day I landed back from Scottsdale last year, after elections. And my one of my really great friends and roommate, he's the one that suggested it. He said it's well at the time it was about it started as a LinkedIn joke, because we were always talking about like getting to 500 plus on LinkedIn, like when we were like this is maybe 2 years ago, so we hadn't been fully like exposed to the real world or professionals or even PRSSA people, so we're just excited like, oh, when you hit that 500 plus it'll be so much great, like it's so much fun, it'll be so cool. And after Icon of 22, I hit the 500 plus mark, and I was like, wow, this is so cool. Like it made you it just it's one of those like cool feelings with social media. So he's like, you should get like a plus sign tatted on you. And I remember just like, yeah, sure, I'll think about it. And then after elections, I remember thinking like it's it does mean like, the plus sign means continuously growing and adding things in your life. So I like really thought about it, and I ended up getting like a little addition sign symbol on my form to as like a reminder to always add and grow positively.
I really love that, and I love the symbolism with that too. And yeah, all of these events feel like they're just like a week and a half after our last conversation.
Right? I mean, it's yeah, like time has moved so fast yet so slow.
Yeah, it really is. Because I remember, like I said, we had spoken on, I believe, a Wednesday morning, and then you were named,
Yep.
national president on Friday. And I just remember thinking, it's just like, wow, it's like I just spoke to him, and then your birthday was a few days after that, and it's just like, wow, I feel like I'm congratulating you and and wishing you best like a lot this week.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a very, very special week. I mean, actually, so right before right before our conversation last year, I was in Syracuse. I was a guest speaker at Syracuse hosted district conference. So I flew out. I taught on when Thursday, Thursday in the morning, flew out, gave my spiel on Friday, and then Saturday, basically Friday night, Saturday morning, I had a flight, and I landed back here in Sacramento. And that day was so. If you don't remember from the last episode, I'm a huge born and brought up in Sacramento, huge Sacramento Kings fan, and that was the first year that we'd made playoffs in 16 years. So I landed right from the airport, and I went straight to the very first playoff Kings game because I was fortunate enough to get tickets. And I that honestly, I think, Brandon, that might have been the best week of my life. I mean, for me, Kings game, like we made the playoffs and we won, and we beat the Warriors. Like in the game, we lost the round to the Warriors, but we we beat the Warriors in our first home playoff game in 16 years, and then I have this wonderful conversation with you, and then I'm in Scottsdale, and then I get elected as president. And then 2 days later, I turned 21. So yeah, it was just a that I think that might have been the best week of my life thus far.
I absolutely love that, and yeah, it's so great being able, like I said, to be here, to be able to, to catch up and just have just such this, amazing, warm conversation that, that we're having, and I'm just so excited to see, what you're going to, continue to do in the future and what you're doing right now, because you're just really making an impact for the PRSSA community and for your local community, because I know that you've been doing a lot of work as well, in that regard and helping to better others.
Thank you. Yeah, it's fun. It's a cool new like next step. Kind of just being a more on like a mentor side with the Sac State chapter. I mean this chapter is like, to me, it's my baby. Like I really love this chapter. So to be able to help out, and I mean to see others grow in this chapter. I mean, these are some of my best friends that have grown in this chapter and are now doing incredible things and really making the most of PRSSA. So that's been wonderful, to be able to see and support. And yeah, it's a really cool like full circle moment.
I love that. And yeah, one of the last things I want to do before we, begin closing out our discussion too is I did want to ask, is there anything that you would have done differently over this past year, whether it has to do with PRSSA, your personal life, academics, or anything in between?
That's a really good question. No, I don't think so. Actually, now that I think about it, I think this year has been wonderful. I don't think I would have. I mean, I've learned a lot of lessons, some great, some not the best, like some in great ways, some in like the hard way. But I personally believe that sometimes it is important to learn a lesson the hard way. So I I think no, I think I'm very content with this year.
Well, awesome. Well, that is good to know. And I said, as we are, beginning to go ahead and close out our discussion for a second time, I did want to, to flip this a little bit and say, are there any questions that you have for me before we go ahead and head to our closing messages?
Yes, actually, in terms of, it's a very similar question, but in your year of growing and new projects, talking to new people, is there anything that you would have done differently?
Is there anything I would have done differently? Okay, this sounds somewhat trivial, but I wish I could have taken more pictures just of the amazing things I
Oh,
was
that's
doing.
amazing. Yeah, that's a good reminder. Always take pictures.
Yeah, and so whenever someone's going to go do an experience, I often say, take pictures, have fun, and sometimes, and I want to clarify a little bit about that too. And so a part of it too is sort of like cherish the memory. Like, don't get me wrong, I love it. I love taking pictures of moments to remember them, but sometimes too, like sometimes, especially when if you're going to something that required a lot of planning, for instance, that you're thinking about the logistics of planning this and that, is to have fun with it too, and to cherish it,
Right.
because then it just becomes a story, and you want to be able to have that story yourself too. You don't want it to just be a, do you remember that thing? It's like, not really, no. Like, I want to be able to say, like, oh my gosh, I remember that, and I had the amazing time of doing this or doing that, or it's like, wow, do you remember a year ago when I had the absolute pleasure of speaking to Sankalp Sharma? So I mean, I want to be able to remember that stuff, and so that's the only thing I would change. But other than that, I think this has just been such a tremendous year, and it's been such an honor to, I mean, to be continuing on this far, and I'm just so excited to see what the future has to hold.
Yeah, definitely. And with an amazing year, I mean, you build great memories. So, what would you say has been your favorite memory so far in this year? In this year,
Oh, would you say that in the year since our conversation, or this year as in 2024?
that's a good question. We'll do both.
Okay. So, first of all, I will say, as I'm still thinking, is that I oftentimes say that I don't have a favorite per se, but I'm trying to think of what would even, like, what would be up there as a part of the list. I would say in general, just, I mean, doing this podcast, I think has just been such a tremendous part. I mean, like, I could never pick like an episode for a favorite. I couldn't even pick like a top five. I mean, I love each of them in their own right, and I always say that I think the best conversations are the ones not recorded too. Is that the conversations immediately beforehand and immediately afterwards? Like, I know we were chatting for a little bit, yeah, beforehand and catching up, and so it's like I feel like those great memories attached to the actual episodes. I feel like just it just makes a complete picture, and so I'd say
Right.
definitely that's an experience. But I'm going to use a little bit of recency bias. I'm going to say that last week, I had a chance. Well, actually, I'm going to say the past 2 weeks, to include today, actually. And so, as I mentioned before, our first of all, we had the panel discussion I had for the College Tour TV show, and
Right.
that I think was just such a tremendous day right there, back on April 6th. And so, for that time, we had a lot of stuff going on that day. I had the panel I was a part of earlier that day. It was a blue carpet event, um, but it was also Admitted Students Day, and so my brother is going to be a student at my university coming up, and so I got to speak
Oh,
to
wow.
his incoming class, and so I think that made it all the more special, for me to be a part of it. Um, and the memories of that I think were just such a special time that I just loved it. And then just a few days later, um, I actually stayed on campus for 4 days, for 3.5 days, for our PRSSA chapter's 10th anniversary, and I got to see so many amazing people I've had a chance to meet over my time as a part of PRSSA, many of which don't even live in the area anymore. And it was also our
Yeah.
culminating event to end out our academic year. And so it was very happy and bittersweet and sad all at once, because on one hand it's like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen you in a year, you in like 6 months, you in 2 years. Yeah, so it's so great to see them again. But being the last person to leave the event too was just like, wow. It's like that's it. You know, it's like
Yeah.
next up is graduation, and especially as an online student, like it's like that's really my next time on campus is, yeah, as the commencement ceremony. And so it's like it's so interesting to see how all of it sort of played out. But it's those full circle moments sometimes that I think really provide a chance for reflection and introspection.
Mhm. No, definitely. Yeah. I mean, that's wonderful. And that last like minute when you it's like the last minute that hits the most. And then I guess the last question I have for you is more so in terms of, I mean, you've been doing this for the podcast for a while, and you've had incredible speakers, you've had incredible discussions. So what would you say is, if you want someone to take something away from listening to your podcast? And this is tough because different conversations have happened, different guests have had different points. But if you wanted someone to take something away, just one main thing away from this podcast, what would that be?
Ooh. Would you say like the podcast overall, or specifically like this episode, for instance?
The whole show, like your overall Tanson talks.
Ooh, that's an interesting one. And yeah, like I know this one right here recording is number 69, and I'd done it 250 prior to restarting my numbering. So,
Yeah.
but I would say this actually relates to a question people commonly ask it, which is like, how do you find people for your podcast? In which case, I always say like, well, really, I like seeing the people around me and the people I've had a chance to, to meet myself, and so I would say the message out of everything. If you had to take away just one message, which there's a lot of messages to take away, so if you only took away one, you should go rewatch. But I would say is to meet the people around you, to turn around and just, I feel like there's so many opportunities right now just to say hello to someone, to ask someone genuinely, how are you doing? I feel like we don't ask that enough. And like for me, I love having my personal friends on here all the time, and people I've
Right.
even just met once. Like for instance, for you, I met you at Icon 2022. We had you know one conversation that was maybe like 2 or 3 minutes, but that conversation stood out to me, and I was very excited to have you back on. And no idea that you were going to be named national president less than 2 days later, um,
Yeah.
but I think it really comes to show the power of communication. And so I hope, if
Mhm.
anything, that we continue asking others how they're doing, and to always be curious, get to know someone, and most importantly, have fun with the conversations and bring people together.
Right. No, definitely. I couldn't agree more.
But yeah, those are some really great and like very perceptive questions. And yeah, I mean it's one of the things too. Like now that, like I said, us approaching our own commencement ceremonies, it's just like I feel like this is just like such a perfect time for a conversation too, because we can look back months
Oh
and
yeah.
years later and be like, this is our thought process back then.
Right. Exactly. It's a great reflecting point.
Yeah, that is so true. And speaking of bringing people together and connections, Son, where's the best places for people to find you and connect with you online?
Yes, yeah. Please feel free to connect with me online. My LinkedIn is my full name, Sankalp Sharma. It's a picture of me in a blue jacket with a white shirt. Um, and the my Instagram is san underscore shawarma, Shwarma. So please feel free to connect with me there as well, and to follow PRSSA National if you are interested in public relations, marketing, communications, business, anything. If you're in the game of communication, we're here to help you.
I absolutely love that. And Son, you've been here before, and we're going to do a similar thing this time around. If there's anything that you'd like to say to close out our episode, whether it be an inspirational thought, life lesson, or whatever the case may be, the floor is all yours.
Thank you. Let me think about that one. I think something I heard recently that stuck with me. So for context, I'm a huge just it with the time, and I don't know if anyone follows Kung Fu Panda, but it's a great series. I haven't seen the most recent one, but the first one was very memorable. My dog actually is named Shifu after Master Shifu. Um, but there's a saying by Master Oogway that I think is very important, and one of my very close friends and I used to quote this all the time. And I just recently heard it, so that kind of kicked it in. But it's uh, yesterday's history, tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift. That's why it's called the present. And I think that's something that everyone should think about, is that enjoy today.
I absolutely love that, and I think it's just such a fitting message to end out this episode. And like I said, Son, thank you so much for for everything, for your support of me, my content, for PRSSA National, and everything in between.
Yes, of course. I'm here to be your biggest fan.
I absolutely love that. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Tansson Talks. I always appreciate your support, and continue tuning in next week as we continue on our mission to bring people together. I'll see you next time. Take care.